How's it going? So I'm just saying, abandon all of your hopes. It does not get better. A solo queue does not get better as you improve, because your problems are gonna be the same, right? They're gonna be slightly different, but the frustration is always going to stay the same. So this guy, he's rank 4 on NA, and he's trying to climb to rank 1, right? So he's been at it now for 2 months, right? And he went from being rank, I think, 14 to being rank 4, rank 3, rank 5, rank 2. Now he's back to rank 4, right? So now the losers and winners queue is very obvious in here as well. So he was complaining about two things. So one of them was this game here. All right. Look, this is the enemy team. All right. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. So we need to look at, yeah. So look, this is the enemy team. Whoops. Man, why is it not opening correctly? Let me just close everything. Okay, so this is top, jungle, mid, support, ADC, and support. Okay, so look, top lane is top lane main, right? Jungle is jungle main. Mid lane is mid lane main, right? ADC is ADC, and support is 100% support. Okay, so that's the enemy team. Now here is his team. Okay, here is his team. So top laner is out of field mid laner, right? So this guy does not know how to play top effectively. Their jungle is actually a mid laner who is out of field. So he's not that good at jungle. Now their mid laner is not out of field, so he's mid laner. So he's a top laner and he had to play ADC, right? And support is actually mid laner. Okay? So the enemy team, 100% of people are on correct role. His team, only one person is on correct role. The rest is out of field. Do you see the problem, right? So, right? It's the same problem. And of course they lost because their mid laner went 0-10. Their top laner, although his score was good in the beginning, he was absolutely useless. And Gragas is like, he can't carry as a champion. I mean, Gragas, just support champ. And he had to play Jax into this. And this champ is very busted against Jax. Like this champ here. Very, very busted. And of course they have Yumi, which is, again, slightly overpowered champion. But again, you see every single person on their team were on the correct role. They knew how to play well. Whereas those guys were kind of, there was no synergy in their game. And in team fights, they just sucked, right? So that's like I'm saying, out of field team versus team on roll. Like, I mean, how do you play this? So this is the loser queue, this is the winner's queue. And you see they have a master player. Everybody else is like grandmaster challenger. And they have a master player, right? So that's one problem. Once you climb to top, for example, right? So let's just summarize problems that we have right now as players. All right. So we're playing what? We're playing low elo. All right. Low elo. Okay. Main problem: feeders on the team, right? That's probably your fundamental issue, right? Problem number two, counter picking. Because if you pick like you play, I don't know, Tryndamere, they pick Malphite, full tank, not much you can do, right? And of course, feeders is people getting caught out, like going like 0-7, whatever, right? This does not happen that frequent on high elo, this thing here, because most people are competent, right? Now, the benefits of low elo, of course, is you can outplay counter pick, right? Because I mean, if they pick Malphite, they go Comet, right? They go Ohm, they're kind of useless, right? I can kill them multiple times, okay? So that's the benefit, right? And your opponent is gonna suck, so you can kind of get fed on him. Like I go like 15-0 consistently on Tryndamere, like 5 kills, 20 kills every game, right? The problem is I don't know what to do against people who just always die, right? Like fundamentally, your ECU when you play loser's queue. Now, note that every time I'm talking about loser's queue in League of Legends. I'm not talking about the winner's queue because in winner's queue, everything is what it's supposed to be, right? Everybody's on roll, nobody's feeding. Jungle fights for objective correctly. He disengages. Is if you play Nasus, right? He understands that you know I should probably not fight for the crab because this is Nasus against Darius. Because if Darius gets fed, we effectively lose the game, right? So he just says, doesn't matter. Let the enemy team take the jungle. I'll go help Nasus, right? We get a first kill on Darius. Nasus is gonna stack, and then Nasus is gonna steamroll the Darius, right? That's how the winner's queue plays. The loser's queue is your jungler half HP engages their Kha'Zix, who is full HP. He gets one-shotted. He's pinging you. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why did you Nasus, who is level 2 and ping to his turret, has no priority, is not helping Mr. Lee Sin with half HP, right? And your bot lane is like already 29 farm. It's 5 minutes in and they already died 3 times each, right? That's the loser's queue, right? So that's the fundamental problem, right? That's the fundamental problem. And that's what I'm talking about, the feeders team, right? And of course, the problem sometimes as well is this is happening on your map and you're playing Nasus and they picked Mordekaiser into you. So not only is your team extremely feeding, there's not much you can do because you're against Mordekaiser, right? Or you're against Darius, or Garen with Ignite, right? Or God forbid Alawi, or Volibear. Don't even get me started on those champions, right? And like you literally just on autopilot, you don't know what to do, right? So this causes frustration, all right? So that's how the low elo goes, right? We're talking about like I don't know whatever is your definition of low elo hell, whatever, right? It's fundamentally the issue is in here, like the feeding team, because counter picking you can kind of, if your team is good, you can kind of do stuff, right? If your team is good, right? Okay, so high elo, right? Problems. Insane queue times. Insane. So he sat for 20 minutes in the queue just to get 4 out of field players and the enemy, and he played well. I mean, like 12 kills. He was like 12-0 at some point. They just stomped the bot lane. And the problem was because of team fighting phase, his team was so useless. When you watch the game, his team was so useless. It was beyond dumb, right? Because their combo of Gragas and Yasuo would only work if Yasuo had some items, right? The problem was they were doing the combo correctly, right? Gragas would ult like 3 people, Yasuo would engage, and of course Yasuo did absolutely 0 damage, right? So their whole plan was not working, right? And then this guy was not in team fights at all, because ideally what should have happened was Gragas engages, Yasuo ults, and then this guy ults on top, and they do a lot of damage. But the problem is, this guy also had no damage at all, and he was always late to the team fight, and his ults were so bad he missed them all the time. And Rumble as a champion with no ult is kind of useless. Would you agree, right? He has no damage, realistically speaking. He is squishy. He has to walk in melee range, right? He has to hit up to do any damage. And if he misses his ult, he's kind of like, I don't even know why would you pick this champion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big fan of this champion altogether, right? And then, of course, we have Jax, who was good. He was doing the thing where he was going in, like Gragas ults, Yasuo ults, Gragas stuns everyone, right? This lady would knock him up. The problem was Jax was the only guy with damage, right? He was literally the only guy who could do damage. And of course, these guys, like, they have a pretty strong combo as well, and they would just walk all over them, basically. Especially like S, because he had to flash into Singed to kill him because he has the slow. If you don't kill Singed, he will do havoc, basically. You have to kill Singed, right? And then, of course, he had to deal with the problem of this fear, right? This guy can kite, this guy can kite hardcore, and it was like a mess. It was a big mess, basically. Okay? So, right, which leads me to second point, which is auto fill, right? Because if you look at the teams, I mean, it's just not very balanced, right? We have Challenger and Grandmaster here, 4 auto fills with a Master in here. So I mean, it's not very balanced. That's because population of players is so small. It's very hard to balance the lobby, right? And of course, in here, counter picking is a big problem, right? Because in here, you can outplay Teemo as Tryndamere, right? In low elos, you can outplay Quinn as Tryndamere, outplay Jace as Tryndamere, right? You can beat Volibear as Tryndamere, Renekton, right? In here, dude, these players are gonna be competent, right? The Teemo is not gonna go or he's not gonna spam his Q. He's blind for no reason whatsoever. They will not allow you to basically go 10-0 against them, right? In here, I played against Vayne and she went 0-9 against me. Like, it's not gonna happen in here. Not gonna happen, right? So again, you see the problem. The problem is, it doesn't matter how high you climb. It doesn't matter, right? The problem is always the same, and that is teammates, right? You rely on your teammates to be useful, right? And you cannot 1v5. Cannot. You cannot do this. Right? I have videos on my channel where I play Jax, and I literally jumped into 5 people and pentakilled, right? I did not need the team. But you have to understand, I was playing level 3 account, and the teammates I was playing against did not know what they were doing at all, right? On Once you start playing ranked, right, people know how to buy items, they know how experience works, they know how to do wombo combos, right? They know stuff, right? So you won't be able to 1v5. Okay, so fundamental, the problem is always, it doesn't matter whether you Iron or you're Grandmaster LCS player, Challenger LCS player, right? It's all about the teammates. Okay, this is, and who determines the teammates? The matchmaking. Okay, so this is your best and your worst enemy. Okay, that's what I'm saying, is that it's pointless to climb because your problems are not going to get solved at all. All right, they're just going to get replaced by bigger problems. Because I don't want to play Tryndamere into Malphite on high elo. I don't want to do that because it's absolute. You are effectively, you can't play the game at all, right? So you have to dodge, which goes back to insane queue times, right? And then because people are dodging, and now we have the system where there is 12 hours of penalty if you dodge more than 3 times, right? Now you have this problem, which is out of field. So it's like whoever gets out of field just loses, and that's it. So again, you are at the mercy of the matchmaking system. And it doesn't matter if you're Iron or you are challenger player, your experience of the game is always going to be the same, right? It's always frustration, and it's going to be the coin flip, right? You get good teammates, you win. You get shit teammates, you lose. That's it, right? That's it. That's what I'm saying. Abandon your hope. And if you think, oh, I'm going to get to challenger, it's going to get better. No, it's not. It's not going to get better. In fact, I'd argue it's probably going to get even worse, right? Why? Because right now you have the privilege of instant queues, right? You have instant queues, right? You don't have auto fill issues, right? And you can outplay to some extent counter picks, right? In here, you can sit in a queue for like 30 minutes just to get this experience here, right? Which is crazy. So, possible solutions, like if you want to, like, I kind of like the game. Now, I noticed that leveling up accounts is a lot more fun than playing ranked. So, like, leveling up accounts, right? Now, in accounts leveling or normal games as well, normal games, right? Now, one problem is eliminated is there are not that many wombo combos in there, right? No wombo combos, and not a lot of CC. People are not counter picking you, okay? Now, you get sometimes counter picks, but I mean, they don't know. Like, you could pick Tryndamere and they accidentally pick Timo, do you know what I mean? But it's not intended, it's just a coincidence, right? But I mean, it solves counter picking problem, do you know what I mean? And it solves problem of crowd control, right? Because I mean, when you play ranked, it's so much crowd control. It's such a big problem, right? And of course, my favorite is play 1v1. If you want to win all the time and have the need to win satisfied, right? Play one-on-one. Because in one-on-one, you have no matchmaking system. You are in full control of the game, right? Now, one problem I don't like about League of Legends is you could play the best game of your life, and you could still lose, right? In one-on-one, you don't have that problem. You could go like 50-0, but your team is so bad, it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. Because, like I said before, fundamentally, the issue in League of Legends, right? This is kind of the fundamental issue in League of Legends. I'll draw it out to you, right? So this is the enemy team, okay? Let's just do it this way. Create a custom game. Create a custom game and call it 1v2 or 1v3, right? You will understand very quickly, but in this game, there is no way for you to actually win this 1v. I tried 1v2. I even got a favorable matchup where is Vladimir and Akali, right? And I was able to kill Vladimir for free consistently, right? The problem there became is that Akali would always kill me afterwards, right? And of course, Akali became too strong. She was able to one-shot me almost. And then Vladimir just built armor, and it was a dead end for me. Okay. Then I tried a couple of other games. One game was good. I got Nasus, right? And then they took Nasus and Udyr. I mean, you can't do much, right? So what I'm saying is that you just cannot win this. There's no way to win this, all right? And how are you planning to win 1 against 5? There is just no way to do this, right? There's just no way to do this. That's what I'm saying is that you could like destroy your opponent to such extent where he can't even play. You could destroy their jungle. But if your team just keeps feeding and feeding and feeding the kills, effectively canceling all your efforts, you just cannot 1v5. There is just no way to do that. Too much CC, right? Zonias, don't get me started on Zonias because you engage, you try to kill this guy, he Zonias. You have to disengage, engage this guy, he Zonias, right? Now you get exhausted, CC'd, and that's it. right? You either die or you run away because you Tryndamere and your ultimate run like is almost run out. You just run away. Do you know what I mean? And at that point, they have no cooldowns. In winner's queue, that's not a problem because your team is just gonna steamroll them, right? Because for example, when I play top lane, right? If my top lane starts roaming more than he should, he is not coming back into the game, into the lane, right? Like recent game I played against Seth, right? And I was Nasus. And he teleported twice into the team fight. One time he got 1 kill, second time he got nothing, right? And I think he died as well, right? At that point, he came back into lane and I would kill him on sight, right? He could not even, like after 3 deaths, right? He literally walked into the lane. I just withered him, ghosted, killed him, right? Got my item. He came back into the lane. I withered him, annihilated his HP, right? He decided to back. I pushed the lane. He decided to stay. I turret dove him. He died, right? Now I got even better items. Now I have my item completed, right? And I literally just walked under his turret, ulted, and just killed him, and that's it, right? He couldn't play the game at all, right? But unfortunately, you know what happened. My entire team, my bot lane that game had 51 farm at 15 minutes. Like how to carry that? Do you know what I mean? 51 farm, and they had a who was it? It was Xayah, right? And she had 100 more farm than my bot lane, right? So I mean that was just a shit show basically. Oh, it was Kalista. No, 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 it was Kalista. So even though I was so fed. Team fight started, and I was able to kind of gank. Well, not gank, but how do you say it? Flank Kalista, and she was so fed she could 1v1 me, even though I had 2 items and 600 stacks, right? But she, I don't know. I think she was building specifically against me because she built Bork, some speed item. It's like the one that shoots bolts, Hurricane or something, Hurricane, and then she built the Wit's End, right? So she was healing like crazy, like a lot of healing, right? And doing because I mean I'm Nasus, I have a lot of health. Bork was doing wonders for her, right? So she was like almost on 4 items, and I was only on 2. So naturally, I mean, but I was like 2 levels up. I honestly thought I'm gonna 2 hit her, right? But oh, too much damage basically. She was just way too fed. So that's what I'm saying. That fundamentally, just and of course, my favorite argument of all time is Faker OPGG, right? If you look at his if you look at Faker, he's the greatest player of all time, right? He has 52% win rate. Okay. So think about it this way, right? This is the greatest of all time player, and he cannot 1v5 the game. So you doing it, not gonna happen, right? Not in this game. Not in this game. Okay, so I hope I motivated you not to get like frustrated over your losses, and you just have to understand that this is just loser's queue. Everybody has to go through it, right? And when you play League of Legends, you are at the mercy of the matchmaking. You have no control over the game. You cannot win the game by yourself. You are effectively a victim of a matchmaking. If the matchmaking today says, today you're gonna win games, you're gonna win games, right? If it says, it's time for you to lose 7 in a row, there is nothing you can do. You're gonna lose 7 in a row, right? Yes, occasionally out of like 100 games, you might win 2 or 3 games out of those losers queues, right? You will feel good, but on average, if the matchmaking system says time for you to lose, you're gonna lose. All right. Now, final thought I think is I'm disagree with League of kind of you see, they're advertising as if it's a fair system, but I mean that's not a fair system. There is losers and winners queue, you see, because they're saying um, creating a fair matching is our top priority. So that's a complete lie. That's not what they do, right? And if you go to their matchmaking wiki, right? If you go here, you will see that they actually admit that they have a winners and losers queue. Yeah, you see, matchmaking systems, right? Player A wins, right? Now, if the player loses, he loses points. If the win was unexpected, right? So think about it. If the win was unexpected, i.e., the system expects you to lose, okay? So the system puts you into the loser's queue and it says you're gonna lose right now. So if you win the loser's queue, you get more points, right? But again, okay, let's go back to our faker. Okay, greatest player of all time. Not even he can win the loser's queue. Because if he could carry loser's queue successfully, his win rate would be 90%, 95 over, right? Because like if there is a skill ceiling to which you can get that you can effectively carry a loser's queue, you could people would have done it by now. Because you have to understand there are so many talented players. The community is massive in League of Legends, right? If there was a dude who could consistently carry loser's queue, we would have found them by now. They would be available, right? But the problem is you go to those professional players and they look average, right? Doublelift, I think, right? Double, like he's the best player in of all time in North America, and he's top 20 of League of Legends of all time. And look, 53% win rate, right? Last time I checked him, he had 54, so now he dropped 1%. Okay, look, you see. But do you see how like this is the greatest player of all time, and he looks like an average Joe? Would you agree that this is like standard? You pick, I don't know, any player, whoopie dooby doo. Let's play this guy here, and his matchmaking is gonna look kind of similar, right? Look, let's see. Let's see, like it's the same. This is the greatest of all time, the greatest, top 20 player of all time, and this guy is like some dude from solo queue, and they look exactly the same because the system will make sure it's basically pushing you to 50% win rate, right? Which begs the question, how do you actually climb in this game? Which is another story, another topic by itself. It's very, very difficult, right? Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's stacked against you, all right? The whole system is stacked against you, right? And you are simply at the mercy of this, okay? And that's what I'm saying is that you cannot win the game in League of Legends. You cannot do it, right? Because if this system says you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose. If this system says you're gonna win, you're gonna win. So the idea that you have some form of control over this mechanism is false, right? To a certain extent, it is false. Now, yes, you can argue that, oh, yeah, but like there are people who can climb effectively. You have to understand, people that are climbing effectively, they are challenger players playing in silver elo. All right, so the skill distribution is so high that they can climb. All right. Now you have to understand that like for guys like who are working full time, like those challenger players, they are children who have no responsibilities other than League of Legends. Okay. So they have time to sit and watch the games. They don't have any stress. Their mom cooks for them. Their mom does their dishes. It does their, I don't know, washes their clothing, right? They have no responsibilities other than League of Legends, right? As opposed to guys like me, right, who has to think about their income, they have to think about their investment, they have to do their own shopping, right? Everything I have to do myself. So League of Legends for me is like entertainment, right? It's like I have an option whether to watch a movie or play League of Legends. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have nor interest nor kind of um, I don't want to sit here and go through this frustration of carrying shitty teammates to victory because that's work. Okay, it is work. I want to play against a player who is the same skill as me, right? And if I play well, I win. If I play well, right? If he plays well, he wins. Okay, kind of like one on one. But the problem with one on one, god damn it, when you play one on one, you realize that players in League of Legends are so bad on average. It's like unplayable. I have like 97% win rate in one on one, and I can beat top four player on my channel. You can see I played against top four in this guy here. Where is he? Store Ole, I think. Store. I think that's his name, right? Because he's also a Tryndamere main, so I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah. See, so this guy rank four. There is two games on my channel where we play one on one, and like I had like Darius game was very hard for me. I played Tryndamere into Darius. It's very hard, but I mean his Lee Sin was kind of I don't think he can beat me on Lee Sin. Neither he can beat me on Darius because right now I improved my gameplay against Darius. Okay, so fundamentally what I'm saying is you can't carry in this game. Anybody who tells you can carry in this game is bullshitting you. They're probably selling you their uh, kind of courses or whatever, like training videos or stuff like that, right? Because you can improve your gameplay. You can improve your gameplay, right? You can climb, but it's gonna be very slow. I'm talking about like astronomically slow, right? Another thing you have to factor in is I played I played a game where I had an account where it was bronze to iron, right? Bronze. I want to level down, all right? And I started, of course, I was trolling hardcore, and I was playing support Garen jungle, right? And I won two games like that. I didn't even lane. I just went and stole our jungler's farm because I wanted to lose the game. So I wanted to have my jungler under farmed, right? And I still ended up winning the games. So can you imagine you take a coaching session, you do your CS perfectly, you kill your opponent, you outplay the jungle, and then you lose the game to support Garen jungle. Man, this shit is gonna tilt you so hard you're gonna go crazy. Right? So that's what I'm saying is that don't take it seriously. You're just a victim of a matchmaking system. And that's it. Okay? Rank is irrelevant. It's irrelevant, right? If rank mattered, if rank in this game mattered, this guy would have beaten me one on one, but he could not, right? So he is like grand challenger top four on the server, and he cannot beat a silver pleb in one on one game. So what level of skill are these players actually are? Which is a good question. Do you know what I mean? If you take away the rigged system, are they actually good or not? And what I'm finding in one on one, on average, they're not that good at all. You can find gold players that play better in one on one than this guy. Like I played against a Riven player. Oh my god, he was so good, and he was like gold, gold 2 or gold 3, I think. But he was the best Riven player I've seen. The best. I also played against unranked Aurelius. That was just god mode, just absolutely god mode. Very very good players. Okay, take care. Bye bye.